Oh, God.
Basketball season.
Applies to my brother-in-law told me.
She'll be back Sunday. That's. Just so.
Of the committee of the whole meeting to order today, November 25th. And call to order. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Hearing none, I move to approve.
Support.
We have a motion with support to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes, anyone opposed? No. All right, the agenda, approval of the minutes, from November 13th.
With that, we approve the November 13th. Yeah, the whole meeting minute.
We have a motion with support. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of minutes, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes, anyone opposed, please say no. Okay. We have an opportunity for public comment, up to 4 minutes to address the commission. Please let us know who you are and where you.
Yep, I'm Janice Serby. I'm with MSU Extension here in Van Buren County and I actually live in Decatur. And I'm just here, I want to give you an update of what we've been doing in 4-H and this covers the last 2 months, so October and November. The month started out with an equine educational class. They had a dentist come in and we actually got to put our hands in the horse's mouth, and there's lots of pictures of me doing this. They thought it was hilarious. We held tractor trunk or treat at the fairgrounds and we had 950 people attend, and this is all organized by 4-H volunteers. I give them the credit, they take the lead on it. I've attended several club meetings where we recognize the youth for their leaderships and their service to their club, recognizing the team leaders and those that have taken on officer roles. And then I also recognize the volunteers for their first year and then 5, 10, and 15 years and so on after that. I had the opportunity to go to Mattawan Early Elementary with their young 5. They contact me every year and like, will you come do this program? And this year, instead of mindfulness, they said, will you do some STEM activities? So I went in and I taught 3 STEM activities. We did fuzzy art or fizzy art, oobleck, and catapults over 3 days with 80+ young 5 kids. We may have had oobleck everywhere. If you don't know what oobleck is, it's cornstarch and water. And it's not a liquid, it's not a solid, and we may have had a mess, but it was amazing. The kids learned what the term chemical reaction is. We talked about liquids and solids, and then we also talked about weak force and strong force using catapults that they made. I taught some online interview skills classes through to the middle of the state with a coworker. Taught financial literacy to 8th graders in Decatur. We talked about spending and value, where they actually had to pick what they would spend money on. Then we did M&M budgeting and bean allowance. Today I finished up in Decatur with 40 kindergarten kids talking about mindfulness. And the interesting thing is we had 2 young individuals that I found out they had repeated from last year, and they remembered some of the things that we talked about last year. So one little girl says, are you going to read us Moody Cow? And Moody Cow is not a book that most kids know about. And I said, yes. She's like, you taught me it last year. So we made calming jars and we talked about our feelings and facial expressions. And we talked about filling buckets instead of bucket dipping. We began planning for Ag Awareness Days, which is an event at the fairgrounds where we invite all 2nd graders in Van Buren County to attend. And that's in May. And we have 9 out of 11 school districts that plan to attend that event. We are also planning for Adulting 101, which is an online session that I organize with some colleagues across the state. And it's for teens. And it's a Zoom monthly session. And we try to teach them life skills that they need for their adult life. And I have two new partners. Van Buren County Sheriff's Department is going to offer a presentation on being prepared for an emergency. And then I also have Michigan State Police that will be presenting on staying safe online. And then for each club is required to do some sort of community service project. We have a club that did holiday cards, Christmas and Thanksgiving, and they go to all the adult foster care homes in and around Decatur. We had the Veterans Dinner. I have two clubs that work together to offer Veterans Dinner at the American Legion here in Pawpaw, and they made 88 handmade cards that will go to those serving currently in the military. And then they also stayed around and helped the American Legion set up for bingo. We have a club that is donating for the Van Buren County Animal Shelter. They were looking for a community service. They wanted to do something animal-wise. And at the meeting, somebody says, well, do you have a connection? And one of the officers is actually a parent, and he's like, I have a connection. So we have clubs that are donating to that. A club out of Bangor did 4 Tide blankets and donated them to South Haven Blankets for Seniors. We have holiday cards for heroes. The club out of Lawton did 50 cards. They went to local police and fire department and then also to the military. And then we have Operation Christmas Child. They put together 6 boxes that will go across the United States for children in need. So that's what we've done for the last 2 months. So my goal is to come more often and give an update of what we're out doing. So thank you.
Great.
Yeah, what
Yes.
numbers up?
We're still in enrollment season. I sent an email this morning to families that haven't enrolled as a courtesy. Currently we're down probably 100 kids, but it's always, we offer an incentive. If they enroll by November 1st, we put their name in a drawing for a $20 gift card, and we offer 10 of those. So we just did those, and they have to be to a Van Buren County business. But so we are still reminding families about getting enrolled and being active in their clubs. You're welcome.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wish to address? Mission from the public?
Yeah, it's the MSU Extension Show here real quick. So Susan, if you don't mind taking a pass in, there's groups of about 3 flyers here. But Tyler Elks, your government community vitality educator with MSU Extension out of our Van Buren County offices. If you need a residence, that's south of the border down in Volenia Township. But similar, just coming to give an update of what's going on with MSU Extension, some upcoming programs from our community government sort of wing of the organization. So the flyers I just passed out, the top one is for an in-person event here at our Hartford office in December. So we're going to spend 2 hours on a Saturday communicating through conflict. This is a really hands-on program that I've done with state agencies, libraries, at various conferences to really help folks learn some tools that they can pull out to get through a conflict and remain pals on the other side. So it's really getting into the nitty-gritty of a conflict. We work through a conflict conundrum during that session and sort of practice what you might say, those sorts of things. Perfect, appreciate it. So if you know of anybody who may want to work on those conflict skills as we're coming out of an election, going into the holiday season, please give a holler, have them sign up. Still got plenty of seats available for that. The second flyer is just kind of a reminder of the breadth of programs we do out of our government community vitality team at Extension. So that's what we're calling our menu of offerings kind of for 2026. The idea being any of those programs are one that Extension is able to deliver on pretty short notice. They're already developed and we can kind of bring them to local communities. For individual municipalities, we need to recoup some of our cost for those programs. So if there's a need, we go out to a little service agreement. What I will say too is if the county knows of a broader need and one of those programs looks like it might fit it, we can always arrange to work out something where the county hosts and we can make that open for free to local communities since the county is already a partner. So just wanted to get that out there so you're aware of what we have as you talk with your communities. And then the last one, please don't ask me too many questions on because I'm doing a favor for Nicole, who is our ag educator here, but she has her Beyond the Bin program coming up that's all about marketing grains to those producers and what to do, kind of thinking through what to do with that harvest and going through some of the business sides of that. I think you get restricted use pesticide credits if folks need those, but if you have those growers in your areas, great free program that we're doing out of our ag team right here in Van Buren County. So always happy to be a resource. Please don't be a stranger.
Thank you, Tyler. Anyone else wish to, comment to the public? Okay. We know more public comment. We are on to presentations. We have administrative affairs, liaison, Gail Patterson.
Okay, we have the friendly court warrant recall event, and Veronica Stilson is here.
Good afternoon. So this will be our third year running this event, and we have taken some of the things that we've learned from past events, trying a couple of different approaches. For one, this one is later in the year, but strategically timed with the holiday season for those custodial families, hopefully. And then also moving the event to a couple of different local libraries so that this is as neutral of a location as we can possibly give. And so just a couple of words about this program. It is not leniency, but strategic enforcement by encouraging cooperation instead of avoidance. And hopefully it helps build public trust in the front of the court by showing people that we're willing to meet them where they are and try to work towards compliance rather than punishment as the first resort. So Amanda Heffley is the deputy front of the court for a year now, and she's done an excellent job of running with this organization. We'll have 3 of our case managers there, as well as the parent navigator and the legal case manager, so we can divide them up amongst the events and hopefully provide a good service. Any questions on this event?
The location.
So we sent an email to each of the Van Buren County libraries and those that responded that had space available for us to use. That's how we came up with this year's list, and then we can certainly expand to other libraries next year if it works out that way. Previously, we had used the Van Buren Conference Center, but we only had the one location. And so this year, hopefully, by being in more locations in the county, we can help with people that have transportation problems.
See rooms.
They do each have a community space that we can use. So yes, they will be not in the main public library part, but off to the side. We will also have a plainclothes deputy there for security, but will not be, obviously presenting police presence. We're not announcing that. And that's with permission from the sheriff as well. Yes.
And it was great to talk to you about assignments this year with the municipalities. And one of the things that I had asked was the people who come in who have the bid still have to pay. They have to come in, and it's not like you said they.
Right, we can't help them make the payment, so we don't have that option, but we can adjust or at least point them in the direction of how they can request a modification of their order. We call that right sizing it. So for example, if it had been, their child support had been ordered when they had a different job, and now it needs to be adjusted for their current income or lack of. We can also point them in the direction of GEMS, which is gaining employment, maintaining support through Michigan Works. And so providing them with other community resources, explaining to them how the program should work and trying to get their buy-in with it. So hopefully we can collect some money, but really the main goal is to establish some communication with their case manager. Sometimes they've just never had that yet in their case. And so if we can get something, some progress in that regard, then if there is that outstanding warrant, if it is dropped, then we would certainly pursue enforcement options again if they didn't keep their end of the bargain.
And I'm not too familiar with the show system. So everybody has a case.
They do.
Had a warrant, and they were told they have a case.
Yes, yes. It's divided up by the alphabet according to the dad's last name, since that doesn't change. So everybody has a case manager. they may or may not have had contact with them yet. Sometimes that's why they get a bench warrant, because they just haven't appeared at anything.
Oh,
And so they're just not complying. And this also includes the DNR recreational licenses, which has always been a very successful program in our county.
Curious.
Sure.
You have numbers?
30 year, yeah. So the first year we had better cooperation than we had the second year. The second year we just didn't have very much traffic. That's why we had wanted to adjust the timing and the location for this year. I will certainly be happy to come back though, maybe in January, to let you know what the numbers are for this year. Hopefully it will be a good report. Yeah. All right, thank you.
then the community park recreation, open space, and greenway plan 2020.
Good afternoon. Happy early Thanksgiving. The Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund requires communities to have an updated Parks and Master Plan every 5 years. And 2026, our plan is due. So the Parks and Rec Commission engaged Southwest Michigan Planning Commission to update our master plan. And we've been working on that the last few months. We've got a draft ready to go. And so the next step is to set a public hearing and have the plan available for public review for 30 days before that time. So what we're proposing is to introduce it to you today, to bring it back on December 9th, to actually set the public hearing and release it to the public. And then on the first meeting in January 13th, well, I think that's right. We'll hold the public hearing, answer any questions, and hopefully it will be approved, or it'll be up for your consideration and approval at the second meeting in January, making our February 1 deadline. So we did do a survey with Southwest Michigan Planning Commission, and we had over 300 respondents. So good, good participation, emphasis on trails, ADA access, and just more user activities. So a great input on what they would like to see, and the update is all ready for input.
So if anybody has any like suggestions or questions, or anything, should they-
Just email me. We'll have it up on our website. They can comment on the website, or if anybody wants to talk to me, or they could do Kurt or Gail or oh,
Or Mike.
and Mike. Yep, forgot Mike's on there too. Mike's the chairperson. But I'd be willing to take any comments to try to incorporate it.
how much did our committee have to do?
No, the plant, Parks and Rec Committee really reviewed it. We had done a strategic plan with them before that to kind of outline what the commission felt was important to them, what they wanted to move forward with. And then taking some public input and having lots of conversations about what resources we currently have, what parks, what partners, and then coming up with the plan. So we'll do more of a presentation for you at the next meeting with summary of it.
So do we need a motion to approve the release today?
Put it on the December 9th meeting for the actual formal setting of the public hearing. This was the introduction on the committee as a whole. Request is put it on the December 9th meeting to set the public hearing.
Okay, well, I move that we put this the December 9th committee of the whole to set the public hearing for the Park and Rec plan.
Okay, we have a motion with support to add this to the December 10th meeting to set a public hearing, just for clarification. So we're not approving it. It has to still
Yeah, so as Lisa said, you set the public hearing 30 days out, and in the 30 days, there's a public comment period. And you hold the public hearing, you can either comment during those 30 days, they can comment. And then take that into consideration, that committee of the whole that day. And then 2 weeks later, formally approve it at the Board of Commissioners meeting on.
We need to send public a notice out and releases, so it will be in the paper, where to look, where to refer to. So we'll have the information out too, so people are aware.
Yeah, and if you use.
So we're gonna set the public hearing. Ninth and hold the hearing January 13th.
Yes.
Then we have a formal approval at the next.
Motion with support. On the agenda for setting a public hearing. For discussion. For discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes, anyone opposed? Okay. That will take place.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Connexus Group Workforce Development Board reappointment, and that's for Sullivan. George, okay.
I would move to approve this West George, actually. Here, very good, very good.
Support?
Okay, we have a motion with support. Reappoint.
George Sullivan.
George Sullivan.
How do you say it?
Sullivan.
Salivi. Is that how it's pronounced? Levy.
Just say something.
Say it wrong, all.
We better ask.
He's not correct. We guess we just.
Salivi.
Yes, the name is Dave said so.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Yes.
Anyone opposed?
And the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission. Catherine. Yes, think about. Mission, he's been third before. Chair of that committee.
I would, reappointment, active member.
Yes.
Motion with support for this reappointment. Discussions? Discussion.
Okay.
Dave says it too.
It's Catherine.
Stand up, Don.
Yes.
Hearing no more discussion, all in favor, please say
Yes.
opposed, please say no.
Okay, the Land Bank Authority reappointments, of course, Zach Morris. He's been on the authority and active member and also Todd Hackenberg. That's for the reappointment of both of them. I would make a motion that we reappoint both to the Land Bank Authority.
Both active, they both. Further discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed, please say.
The last item for me is the board calendar, organizational meeting. And
Yes, thank you. Just want to give you that heads up. We have a board organization. Typically, it's the first Tuesday of the year. And that the December 9th, 2026. Commissioners Organization meeting. No.
Look right.
Yeah, right, I'll promise. So, to send this request to the December 9th meeting for formal adoption, setting of an organization meeting on 6th of January. And in that meeting, that's when you select your chair or vice chair. We typically look at the bylaws as well as the board schedule for the year. And but Mr. DeStefano about this. What's your feedback or input on this? Since you're all there together, there's no other action particularly on that meeting. And it's minutes, half hour. That might be a good time for department heads to give report to you as to what happened or what they did in 2025 and broad goals for 2026. And I'm thinking maybe 10, 15 minutes per department head. There's 9 of them. That would add up to be a full afternoon, but time will spend as long as you're already here. So give that some thought. If that makes sense to you, then I can. But regardless, you should have the organizational meeting.
It's a good idea.
Through this recommendation.
I'll support that idea. Sometimes in meetings. Invitations.
Made the motion. Motion with support. Have a little bit of discussion regarding. It's a good idea. 9 times 15 is a long time, maybe we do 2 minutes. I'm just thinking out loud.
Your meeting.
Yeah.
And
it would be, it would be informative. Not really.
Break him. Maybe. Yeah, walk around. It's a long meeting.
Well, I guess if we could talk to you about that.
I'm sure your watchful would buy. But 2 minutes. All depends on how many questions you might have. 15 minutes tops.
So we have motion with support. For this plan of. Creating the setting on December.
It's December 9th, approving the setting of the organization.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say yes. Yes. Anyone opposed, please? Okay, we are on to Bill Newsom Brown, our liaison, Commissioner Fury.
We have nothing on the agenda. Just a little bit of an update. They're starting some deconstruction. They looked at a bunch of stuff. The temporary walls that have been there forever down in the basement of the courthouse. Quite an open space. I'm not sure what's going on with, there's the rooms that are left. So
Yeah.
You said the Tower Pinkster's coming in this afternoon.
2:30.
To kind of start the space and reorganization. How it's gonna look and how many months is it gonna take?
6 months total.
Okay.
Only got
And
5
then,
left.
Especially of course.
Thinking one night, this is the time to bring it up. You wouldn't have a mild confusion walking into the front doors. Looks a little different.
So the original proposal was to remove the doors, make them more welcoming. What we find here is, you know, you come, I don't know how many times you come in there, people are just standing there like lost. Like, where am I supposed to go? They're looking through that old little window. Now you find people coming in there, it seems it's more welcoming, people coming in. A couple things that we looked at before we took the walls out was the security side of it. when you had the doors there, if somebody wanted to, they'd come through and hide behind those doors. You came in there and who knows what they would do. So a couple things we did is we replaced the atrium glass, which helped with the heating and air conditioning. We installed 2 mini splits out there. So now we have heat out there to stop the freezing of the fire protection out in the lobby. You got air conditioning out there now. So it's more welcoming environment out there. So I'm getting good feedback from it. So I really am. So I'm happy with it. I hope everybody else is too. So
And the security for the treasurer's office
is in the, yep, it's in the process right now. I've had, Midwest Mirror and Glass, the people that do the atrium, they also do security glass. So they came in, did their measurements and just waiting for the final numbers to come back. We did some, revamping of what they've got going on in the space. I know that Ryan Smith we're gonna be installing some shatterproof window glazing on the windows here and also over there, which the court's is gonna pay for. So we're moving in the right direction, I feel. So.
January 6th, you only get 7 minutes.
7 minutes. Yeah, yeah. I think I got enough projects to cover that 15, 20 minutes. So, but
Yeah, I think it opens everything up.
It is more inviting.
it is.
And either it used to be too cold, too hot, weird, I mean, the temperature, this is how you regulate.
The biggest thing is there was no heat in the lobby except for that little space heater. So you have, sprinkler heads all the way up through there. So when you came in the winter, we had ceiling tiles out to try and keep the heat up in there because we had, one head freezes and breaks and we're not here on a weekend, it's gonna flood the whole lobby. So I think it's a good change. I really do. So, and we like to continue. I know when we get some time here, we're gonna be doing the tile out there. So I'll get the tile replaced, all the woods are replaced. So, and then we like to remove the doors here, the wooden doors here, so it's more welcoming on the second floor as well. So.
Right here at the end.
At the entryway here, yep. And then if you go to the third floor, we've installed some security devices up there, so it's more secure going into the admin and the HR side of it, so.
Thank you.
Yep.
Down to 6
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for buildings and grounds, finance. We have item A, applied innovation. Place.
So this is an annual recurring invoice, but due to the size of it, I'm here to discuss this with you. And so this year marks a big change to how this is being done. Thanks to CJ and his team, as well as graphic science and applied innovation. We now have on-base for juvenile court, probate court, and friend of the court. And so adoption files will be accessible through on-base, as well as probate, juvenile, and front of the court will continue. And so whereas in the past, there had been many unused licenses, now they have been distributed to the various court departments. And so that financial impact reflects what we anticipate billing to each court department, as opposed to much of this being eaten by IT in the past. So it will be a much better use of the license and the technology for all of the courts. So the back scanning project, where we scanned all those files from the basement, they will now be accessible through OnBase, and then support staff will start scanning things that were not taken as part of that project. So we're doing some internal work to save some additional costs. Yeah, we're very excited about this. This has been a long time coming, so we're really happy. So does anyone have questions about this invoice?
So move to.
Motion with support. Trading invoice for the own days. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say yes.
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 Thank you.
Item B, and out of state travel. Public defender. TV.
I didn't.
Yes.
Was requesting on state federal for 3 more employees to the National Association. Be the defenders. that to be approved at December 9th meeting. And read the backgrounds of conference for all the core staff, for attorneys, and we'll do the social workers and managers paid for by the MIPC.
Move that we approve out-of-state travel employees to attend hosted by the National Association of Public Defense and forward this request to December 9th. POC meeting.
Okay, we have a motion with support. As read. Any further discussion? Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes, anyone? opposed, say no. Item C. Foster Swift in 28534.
Losing rock, paper, scissors. So this is their over.
We did approve on that.
Yeah, we did. We approved
Different
last
one?
one. What was the time frame of the previous?
Those were the expert witnesses. Those were long.
So, entertain a motion. Any other portion of this? Portion of this.
I did send you a date from our attorney.
Here a second.
Support.
Motion support, any discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say yes.
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 Item 10, labor negotiations and contracts.
No, if I could just get a quick update on the status. We have. We're separate. Ordinance units we're dealing with. Very close to reaching, we've reached tentative agreements for 4 of those. We're close with the units. Yesterday. Last big one is asking. 5 subgroups within ASB, and we're meeting next week. Hopefully, we'll have those to you, or at least a good portion for your consideration. Right? That time will also present big scale that Anna and Becky have been working on to bring separate scales into one that will make it fair, system, and we're getting good feedback on units that we had tentative agreement. So we'll have a more significant update for you on December 9th. Making good progress. It's huge.
Transit. Is, Well, Commissioner Liaison, Mr. Chapel, in attendance. Not see, other services folks. So is it safe to say there's nothing additional regarding veterans?
David will give his bi-monthly. Dennis, I submitted his retirement, I believe, in January. So I think we can give him-
Say that again, you said Dennis
Dennis,
submitted his.
his resignation,
Oh,
worked with David to post for that vacancy, so there'll be some over.
Item 13, road commission update.
John, you wanna do this one too?
Roads are good.
Yeah, well, depends who you ask and depends what road you live on too, right? Phaser scale, see, you've been listening. Appreciate that. You can see on there, we've got a road commission update on meetings if you'd like to attend any of those. I know Commissioner Chapel and Doral come to those quite often. We have our budget hearing coming up on December 17th. We go January to December for our fiscal year. We asked the board and the board was nice enough. We did push it back a week because we're still trying to understand all the funding mechanisms coming in from the road package that was passed by the House and the Senate and signed by the governor. Remember, it was passed October 1st, and we're still trying to get this all worked out. So there's some meetings the week before that will help us have a clearer idea. The biggest thing on that is the marijuana tax portion. You know, it's I believe a 24% increase, 25% of the increase in funding. There's court hearings already scheduled, waiting to hear if there's going to be an injunction that will stop the collection of the tax on January 1st. I think all sides agree it's going to end up in front of the Supreme Court. Just depends how fast. And the other part of it is you know, we get monthly checks through the state through Act 51, the gas tax. When are we going to see that money? Is it going to be once a year, which I believe you get it once a year, don't you, John? The marijuana tax?
I believe so, I can't remember.
Yeah.
What time you heard it.
Right, and so all those things are out there, we just don't have any idea, so we are putting together a real solid plan based on that money without the marijuana tax. And then if it does come in, then obviously we have a contingency to do with that. But one thing I can definitely say about our agency is 100% of the increase of funding is going to roads. It's not going to buy more equipment other than a seal coat machine, which is for roads, and a distributor that sprays the material, and we'll space those out. But it's not going to facilities, it's not going to more people, it's not none of those things. It's all going to the roads, which is, I think, was the intention of that. We had our annual township meeting. So as you know, I hit all the townships and I go to every board night meeting. I get to all 18 of those. In addition to that, then I do meet with the supervisors one-on-one. But then we also bring all the townships together, and we had 15 of the 18 townships come to a couple night meetings. It's very well attended. We actually put out a survey and let them pick the topics they want to talk about. And so they picked, I think we asked for 3 and it came back all 4 really close. And so we talked about that. One of the topics was, how do you take, in essence, a private road and turn it into a public road? So we do get contacted quite often, especially when it's time to plow roads. You know, we'd like to get a road plow, what would it take? And, you know, we're not gonna inherit a liability. So they have to bring the road up. It's gotta be a brand new road before it comes in the system. And they go through township, and then townships will do usually a special assessment and work with them. And we just did Cider Court in South Haven Township. That was a private road that they built to our specs. They're doing a special assessment with the township. We signed off on it, our board agreed to it. and it'll be part of the road system on January 1st. So if we get a snow like they're talking about this weekend, and if it's enough, those residents will get their streets plowed. Just working with our townships. Part of the issue is we got to have all the information, like how many miles they want done of seal coating, different things by December 31st, so then we can get things ready in the spring to start patching. You know, we're one of the few counties that will patch roads that are rated really low. And when you patch or when you seal coat a road that's really low, you got to really patch it ahead of time. Otherwise, you're wasting your money. And so the sooner we get those roads, then the better off that is. As you know, we've been big on revamping all of our facilities and just getting them in nice shape with new roofs on all of them. The Western Garage, which is in Geneva Township, Bangor address, and M43, that is finally completed. Looks really good. I had some of the township supervisors who serve that area, that garage, Geneva, South Haven, Covert, and Bangor, and a couple of them came over and looked at it, and they were very impressed. They remember how it looked before and how it looks now. So a nice meeting place for our staff. Just a couple other things you may have seen on media. We did Paint a Plow for the middle schools, which I think is, you know, it's our way of trying to be part of the community in a fun way and interact. And South Haven Schools won that. We do an online poll, and we had 1,814 votes. You can only vote once, because I've tried to vote twice. It does track your IP address, so if you want to switch computers and vote again, that's fine. So they'll get a pizza party, and as you've heard me say before, that comes out of my money, not the agencies. This kind of give you an idea on how we watch our money tight. So I came in, started in March, you know, a few years ago. So I tracked payroll March through February, and our payroll March through now compared to last year is actually about $200-300 less per pay period, which is pretty tough in this market. But we've been able to even keep that under control. You talk about union contracts. Our union voted for it, and the board approved our union contract at the last board meeting. So a month and a half ahead of time. So that part is good. Had really good discussions on that. And one of the things I stress with our staff, and I do it myself, is, you know, you can email all you want, you can text all you want, but sometimes you either got to pick up the phone or you got to go to a meeting and be present. But one thing when I was county treasurer in Berrien and did all those foreclosures, I always reminded people, you know, try to do as much stuff as your local as you can, because it's hard to tell people no to your face. It's easy to do it through email. It's easy to do it over a phone call. So we have the state's broke up in districts for bridges. And last year we were fortunate, we got the first bridge in, I don't know, 10-15 years. And then the second go around this year, we had a bridge meeting and we didn't get one, which I understood. They only approved one. So with the extra money from the state that's coming down, they decided to have an extra bridge meeting, and somehow I got myself invited, which is good. And I was the only non-voting member there. So we went from not being on the list to we did get a bridge approved. And so it'll be 8th Avenue in Geneva Township, $2.5 million grant. But you know, sometimes you just gotta push your way in the door. You know, if they didn't want me there, they could have told me no, but they're like, that's fine. And when they threw out the preliminary approvals, I think they approved 3 more or 2 more, I can't remember. We were not on the list, but by the end of the meeting, we got on the list. So that'll start next year. I know our engineers are excited and nervous because they've gone from not doing any bridges probably at least a decade to now we got back-to-back bridges totaling, you know, $5 million in grants in the last 2 years. So we'll keep doing that and pushing the envelope to help out the community. I can take any questions if you have any before.
Happened with the original meeting that we had to talk about in different ways.
Yep.
Different counties.
Yeah, so you're talking about the seal coat process, yeah. So we have our district outside of the bridges, but just for normal road commissions from Kent County, Ottawa, all the way to St. Joe, Branch, etc. And one of the things I pushed at the meeting was, you know, we all do it, seal coat and fog seal. We do the most or second most miles in the state, depends on the year. MDOT does it now too. And as you were there was multiple ways of doing it. I thought there'd be 3 or 4. Everybody's got a different opinion. And so one thing I pushed the CRA Association, which got a grant to study something, was let's create best practices for a process that everybody uses. So where they're at right now with that is, and Linnea Ryder's on the committee. She asked if she could go. I'm like, yeah, go. I want someone from, and she's vocal enough. She'll sit there and push for us. Right now, I think they're going out to bid to the universities, research departments, because they will bid on how they will determine what is the best practice. Like Michigan Tech, Michigan State, they all have these research divisions, I guess is the way to put it. And then they'll come back with, I think the goal is 4 best practices. And it can vary from UP to here to snow, non-snow, heavily traveled, just different varieties. So I don't have a timeline. All I know is it's going forward at a pretty good pace. Yes, sir.
You mentioned 2 bridges. What, the first was,
40th in Waverly Township will be built in 27. And then 8th Avenue in Geneva will be built in 28. And just give you an idea how long that one in Geneva has been on the list. It was approved back in 2012. Eagle came back and said, you got to make it longer for their reasons. And the road commission did not have the money at the time. So that tells you you're looking at 15 to 20 years that bridge has been on the list to get approved. Anything else? Any other questions? The other part that's on your agenda, and John, for you have been around here longer, you're going to know a lot more than I think John and I, because John and I kind of walked into this every year, and I don't know how long. Were you able to find out how long this goes back?
The relation with the Board of Commissioners and the road commission wasn't developed. And wasn't consistent communication from both commissioners to the local union. Commissioners asked this development of communication, which has been followed and updated every so often. The agreement that Russell presented, and we're supposed to give an update every year, and that has happened, I think, for 3 or 4 years now. So the way I understand it, I mean, this is your presentation, but
No, go ahead.
it's going well now.
Right.
But the request is to change the requirement to give an update every 4 years. Every 1 year, because I'm being known, and 2, it's not really necessary because it's working.
Yeah, and I agree with your understanding of how it got started. And I think it was the way the county to hold the commissioners, I would say accountable. I don't want, that's the right word. Would that be okay, John? And getting updates and making sure, because what we pass, going out here to their townships and things of that nature. And I think from what we understand, it has to be passed every year. And we thought, and I had talked with John a couple of months ago, maybe rather than doing it every year, do it every 4 years, which matches your terms to that. I think this may go back over a decade or 15 years.
We talked about that on the meeting. About that. When you have to attend and all that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think the ask is they, attend 1 1/4 and things of that nature. It doesn't.
Last time this board looked at it.
Okay. So it's been a while. Last year, I know when our board passed it, I emailed to John, and John's like, what's this? And I'm like, this is something that sounds like they do every year. We're not trying to skirt the process. We're just trying to say, okay, it's the same thing, but instead of making it annually where you have to vote to approve it, it would just be every 4 years.
I think you need to approve
So I just. So this written update as to what you guys do. is Currently. in the post- doing it. Or not, less communicative age. So you're recommending that requirement before. You state, am I stating this correct?
Well, the road commission has a policy internal. They. Then every year, they're supposed to bring that policy to the county board of commissioners.
Yeah,
And that's in your packet.
Yes.
In that cover sheet. Needs to be brought back to the board of commissioners.
and the policy doesn't change. Or what the ask was back then,
The internal road commission policy,
correct?
unless you look at it, you decide you want to change, then they. bring it.
And from my understanding, it's been the same since it was initially passed. And again, I don't even know when it started.
They made a change in policy.
Correct.
So
Correct.
it's basically saying, not changing policy.
Yeah, currently the agreement are required to submit you the same policy year after year after year.
Example. If- Listen, you're coming, I think. Is my concern.
Well, and I know this from being in your role before, you get calls on the road. Because it says Van Buren County. I know that, because when I was county commissioner in Fair, I got those calls. So at times you'll email me and we get back right away. Someone emailed me about a road going through Bangor, and thankfully, the guy's complaining about how bad it was. He's actually on the list for next year, so. That email doesn't always happen.
Those are real easy to take care of.
Yeah, those are the nice ones.
You have Brett's phone number? Got one this morning.
Did you? Yep. And you have my number, just have them call me.
So we've entertained a motion to approve this change.
Support?
Say yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen, and ladies.
Okay. With comments. Here to address this. Entertain a motion. Here. Motion with support, we will reconvene in about 5 minutes for discussion. And now all in favor, please say yes. Yes. Okay, we are adjourned.
this Board of Commissioners meeting to order. We will begin with the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice.
Gracious God, we come before you today, to discuss important matters. We ask for your guidance and wisdom. Help us to gain knowledge, do the work that we have before us. Also ask that all of those that are traveling, safe holiday weekend. Great Thanksgiving. Thank you. Amen.
Okay. Roll call.
District 1, Commissioner Patterson Gladney.
Present.
District 3, Commissioner Doral.
Present.
District 4, Commissioner DeStefano.
Present.
District 6, Commissioner Larry.
Here.
District 7, Commissioner Shinkario.
Here.
And District 2, Commissioner Chapel, and District 5, Commissioner Pete, absent and excused.
Are there any additions or deletions to our agenda?
Hearing none, I move to approve.
We have a motion with support to approve the agenda as shown. Discussion. Question. Hearing none, all in favor, please say yes.
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 Yes, anyone opposed, no. Are there any commissioners or members of the public who wish to remove? Comment. See, that's all. Bless you. Do we have anything back from administrative affairs? Leagues and Brown. Finance, I have nothing to add. Labor negotiations and contracts. Public transit,
Nothing.
veteran services. That's that. So roundtable, we start with, Patty.
Well, we had the election and we'll have Andy Brown as our mayor. Eddie Pope. We elected to Ward 1. He worked many years and I think he's still working at Palisades. Tom Capps is raised in South Haven. I did attend a session by MAC, Michigan Association of Health and Human Services Committee, and we had a presentation about opioid settlement funding, and if any of the counties need help, they have a lot of help for the county. So I did forward that information to Lisa. So their committee might invite one of the presenters to presentation. And then one interesting thing is at the city of South Haven, you might have seen trying to bring back lifeguard program.
Comments on our live meeting and the poster, folks. Interesting process. Not sure what I came away with. Just it's kind of a massive undertaking. I really
expect. I mean, with the time that Howard had us in our groups, seemed like our groups talking about changes in really physical standpoint. But felt like we foundered a bit without having any direction. I really don't know what the goal was. How do individual there's around. But I think there was some good input. Is did we accomplish what we wanted?
Well, we started meeting with, we, we. My impression is, I think, you know, when, actions of their. Big part of it was just to. I think it was to get the excitement of this thing out there. Here's the little big scope of what we're looking at for the campus, not necessarily. If you're part of the team, you're gonna be hurt, and that didn't happen last time. So it was more of a across the pond. This is gonna go forward, you're gonna be part of the team, you're gonna be hurt, here's the concept. Then it's not from my point of view. Now I can be the dream. You know, it's like there's no way we're gonna get board level. And let's focus on what's the priority instead of what goes first, where does it go? People move out of the courthouse. What do we do with that? So walking away with priorities at the end of this really what priorities are and what cost is and oh, I mean, you hit all the key points. That meeting was more.
Yeah. A little disappointing.
Yeah. So that those buildings were part of the committee talked about the assessment. So, but again, I think that will, you know, it's a priority for you, or if it's necessary, but it is. I was kind of.
I just started small.
Yeah. But it'll be in the plan, and so the thought is to bring it back to you, and that was even just not even a rough draft, the first draft, rough draft from back to your consideration. We think these are the priorities. Don't forget animal. And then come back again and probably do something similar, and at least I would talk about the recreation. You develop a workable draft of saying, okay, this is what we want to put out there, and set a public hearing for this to be adopted, and in between that time, 30-day public comment period. Then that gives us a chance, administration, to go out to the public and say, this is what the board's considering. What do you think of it? Because again, the whole idea is to get feedback and everybody marching in the same direction, unlike last time when we had 5 different. Because if you don't have that fundamental team North Star vision, But it was no.
I think give Brett kudos for updating the Bangor, well, because last time we talked about, and show up to the style. So, thanks for fixing up, so maybe,
This building or the.
yeah, that. Wow.
Um, What you alluded to, the first part of the plan that you didn't elaborate much on was going building by building. And it's gonna be really helpful for John Small and for our budgeting. Say, hey, building, parking lot, whatever it is, it's like, this is the immediate need. Things that you can do, and you can drill down into it when you get into the document. Then it's specifics of what needs to happen. So I think that's gonna be just really helpful for us going forward, because nothing's gonna happen with these buildings other than maintaining and keeping them building, bringing them up to better standards, ADA requirements, whatever. Sheriff Abbott was in our group, and it was really informative. He's the longest time I thought, aren't you? He's like this. No, we don't need a new jail. There's some improvements need to happen for specific areas, but he goes, this whole area is new. This is good. We don't want to move. And he goes, we don't want 911 across the street. So that's good. That's, I think, was the biggest eye opener, that the takeaway that our Pinks is going to have going forward is reevaluating that. It's like, why put, I don't know how many hundreds of millions into a new jail, complete new jail, if you don't have to. And then, so the whole campus concept, what they presented is going to change from what they gleaned from what we came. So I think it was important. One group is going to do they were just being. we took it serious. Our group did.
But you were talking about the assessment recognition, all of those buildings.
Oh, yeah, it's true. Yeah, because for the longest time, John was trying to pull, so we would find an old blueprint somewhere, and he's trying to gather and organize, but yeah, now everything's digital, so when he leaves, from going forward, we know whatever, all the way down to mechanical.
And I was close to doing. What?
I think we have to be careful too when we do that. It's not extra costs. Years. Happen later than soon. That's nice.
Yeah.
Courthouse is gonna be. I don't know how we would do it. With the elections, I think we're even here. So.
That's not what they expect.
If you're. Next.
And just for informational sake, as I said, I was so wrapped up in my election bill and I forgot to be here at 1 o'clock. But the library had a special election, and it was not the entire county, it was a lot of the county, but their bill was very, very significant. So remember the cost factor. If you want to go with a special election, you would be looking at a minimum of $75,000 to $80,000 just to hold the election. If you did it as a special election.
There's a lot of buy-in that's going to happen by everybody.
Well. So regarding that, one thing I did, I thought as overarching things to do, I thought it was great. Because I know I'm speaking to the choir, here, but you know, we interviewed all these architecture firms. We vetted them. This has been going on for 2 years now. I mean, really, it's been going on since I've been on this board, but more seriously, the last 2 years. And they scanned, they presented us with something. Where I agree with you is, I had the sense that what they wanted to do was no holds barred. To Commissioner Leary's point about them not taking it seriously, I wouldn't say they didn't take it seriously. Everybody was just, just really thinking outside the box. That's what they wanted us to do. But to your point, I heard this expressed once by, we're getting nitty gritty with the way that architects can. Why not? So, I heard it expressed once where this speaker had said, total freedom accomplishes nothing. For example, I sit down and I say, Mr. Stefan, go. You sit there and go, oh. That's total freedom. Total freedom is kind of pointless. We need some directions, some parameters. Then freedom matters. So that we all sat there like the first 20 minutes. I agree with you on that. But but it was just fleshing out some high level stuff. Now, regarding our priorities, because I've always had the sense, and I'm curious what everybody else thinks. I've always had the sense that, well, our first thing is the 911. It's been stated by our chair more than once. We've all quietly accepted that. But is that really priority? I mean, we just heard the sheriff, you pointed out the sheriff doesn't want. That was my first thought looking there at the board. It's like, okay, the only thing that seems relatively concrete is we're going to relocate 911 because we wanted to get them out of the basement. But they're under the sheriff's department.
Well, and it has to be connected.
I would think so.
No, there's something, EOC and 911 by rule, there's some rule that they have to be together. But he, that's what he said, that because if you had an emergency, you need 911 and EOC. He cited something saying that they need to be, maybe he just said it because he wants to have it.
We did look at our.
There's counties that the 911 VOC is not connected.
Well, it doesn't have to be connected with, they have to be together. Those two things, those two entities have to be together. What he said.
I'm talking 911
and EOC. Now I think it would be his preference to have everything connected to sheriff's department. I'm not a fan of tearing down the building. I would rather rehab. Trust me, every 10 years or so, McDonald's goes through this kind of almost tear down and rebuild.
They've been a pretty successful organization.
They'll stand, but they have unlimited money because we keep buying their fries. But nobody likes the annex, but I don't really know why. I mean, I've been the holdout of saying I don't really want to do buildings, but I can be persuaded. I mean, my vote will just see where we are. The plan is. So I guess this is the process we have to go through to get through.
And one in one arena that I disagree with some of these said is none of this is going to happen right away. But if we're not constantly re-looking at this, if we're not constantly talking about it with all the departments,
It has to start somewhere.
It's not going to happen.
Oh, so the process has to start somewhere.
It's got to constantly. We're in a good situation. There's no emergencies today.
No.
But and that's why we started this. But we paid for the songs. So I think it's smart to continue. I think it would make sense to circle back and do something like this again with a little bit, they would be better at it. We'd all understand what the heck's going on. I think that's a good process. I thought that meeting was good.
I agree on a positive note, bring all the elected officials. And this for the team value, and I got to spend some time in our small groups. Folks that I really hadn't spent any time with and got to know them a little bit, you know, and heard their ideas. That standpoint, but it was.
It was a good lunch, but.
Unhealthy. But on another, the parts that right, you know, reading through the stuff we had in our, like, there is a lot of information. There's a lot, and being a almost lifetime resident of this county, I didn't know half of this stuff existed. You know, and the land we have north of the Van Buren State Park, that was confusing, confused to what's really happening, that land used, who's managed. Sounds like it's kind of become part of the state park. We lease it. Lease it.
Part of it.
Okay, good. Deal with it.
No, they got it.
Oh, okay.
They're managed. So, like, demilitarized. That people would go there and party and whatnot, and there's no control, there's no policing, but people would do exactly that, perhaps. And then they would wander, because there's no boundary, they would wander into the state park. And the DNR agents, state park agents would chase them, and then it's like a little loony. They could only go so far, and not, and so it's a buffer zone between.
All those years of all that Boy Scout.
Well, it was terrible accident for fresh out, died of person. Beautiful.
Yeah, sale of that. Oh, no, we can't, we
Oh,
talked
oh,
about.
Don't sell.
We talked about that a while back, we had some tree huggers there. Yeah.
So, other things that, if I may.
Yeah.
All right. Just a couple of high level things that I thought about. Was, I agree with Commissioner Leary about bringing buildings down. Well, one arena, just off the top of my head in this moment, that I would disagree, is I think the annex is hideous. It was hideous when they put it up in 1976. Hideous today.
But
It's
Dave
like-
lived in it, so.
It's like a,
Probably agrees.
it's like a veil over a beautiful face.
Like those buildings they bought into schools, in the next classroom.
Yeah, I mean, so that is obscuring this beautiful Georgian architecture courthouse. That I thought the idea of admin there was great. Tearing down the sheriff's quarters seems a little odd, and the sheriff Abbott seconded that. He said it's a great quarter.
The sheriff.
I'm not, excuse me, not the quarters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
sure.
they-
Orders, yes.
Yeah.
Sheriff's house.
And I'm not a big fan of this is small. Well, doesn't matter. We'll do that enough. So anyway, just high level, and I'm just kind of curious while we're on this. What are just some kind of high level notions about priority or?
Well, I guess I was 911 call center. They're happy where they're at. About there.
That's what we heard, and it got repeated a lot, but I don't know how true it is. I mean, it's worth patient. It is cramped in there. I mean, you know, we did that EOC thing. Regarding houses. Cramped. Not a lot of space, but I thought it was odd that I put it that far away from the house. Didn't think that.
Well, it's in defense of that one, I'm not certain that it physically has to be adjacent. So, yeah, just for argument's sake, say it doesn't. And the thought was that would be a data center for 911, POC, and if money were no logic, I would suggest putting our IP range network into a secure way all in once, and it's land we own, and it's somewhat away from everything from an insurance point of view. Then you have some separation, which is, it might be good because and it's not that far.
Right, we're talking about far away.
So
Prisoner transport.
And it was, again, it was like, gotta start somewhere. So throw it against the wall if it does. If it has to be located. Or is it just a strong preference? Just fine too.
Let us think about it.
We'll get the next draft back and maybe it's a meeting that's focused on that and a little bit smaller. Those are gonna be your stakeholders, because they have their own constituency. And if everyone there buys into it, then you multiply that by 50 people by each of those. That was get the buy-in right from the
So, Southwest Michigan SWIMBA. Yes, I know you two. I'm not 100% awesome. Former Chairman Godfrey was in attendance. Looked great. So, process of privatization, putting out services. Our also put technically, I don't want to get too far in the weeds here, but SWIMBA covers an 8-county area. There's about 8, I think 8 or 9 around the state that handle this for their revamped plan. Puts it into 3 areas. There's basically northern Michigan, Wayne County, the suburbs, and then the rest of southern Michigan. So the fear is the services and responsiveness to local county is going to go away. It's going to be real cookie cutter. These types of changes generally negative communities like us. When it's more generalized, it's just going to be about population center. Usually, doesn't be much. So that's part of the fear. SWIMBA did put a bid in. Now, and technically the bids were supposed to be for service providers to cover the whole state. Not many are in a position to be able to do that. Especially not many with any expertise. SWIMBA has expertise. They've just been limited by statute to these 8 counties. Doesn't mean they couldn't service a broader area, but they've been limited in their charter and statute to these 8 counties since they existed. So they did put a bid in for this, and we'll see what happens. Now that entire thing is
It's still in the course.
it's in flux. Yeah, there's been some lawsuits.
The privatization is what they're really concerned. Or they would not have local government that they have now. Maybe a multi-county had 30.
It's basically all.
It's a bunch of counties.
All.
And Mac usually tells you in a bit.
Yep.
So maybe the one, if someone is back and then they were, I don't really know exactly how that.
I mean,
It's in the courts still.
now, paring it back down, I'm happy to report. Henry County remains. Most of them are not. budget is relatively small budget. Picture compared to Kalamazoo County and Calhoun County. But we're in good shape with use of the funds. So we have not had to dip into reserves. Use actually, there's actually a little bit. We're a little bit underutilized. Our part of this puzzle, we're doing. Doing a good job. That's all
Work.
hold on, I got a whole list here. Chairman's update, board course. Board correspondence? Any reason for closed session? Any public comment? Now you're on committee.
I moved to adjourn.
I said,
We have a motion to adjourn with a second. Any further discussion? Discussion, hearing none, all in favor, please say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anyone would say no, okay, we are. Oh, adjourned.
happy things.
Oh.